let's get things going. We have Eberron, rising from the last war. We have our Pahubba, and I hope you all out there brought your player's handbooks. We have a cat. We have Mathrock's bot. Mathrock's bot, are you there? All right, very good. Hey, power level. Well, so you've walked into quite an interesting scenario. We're getting ready to start making this playtest subclass for Artificier. There's a cat down here who is, well, she's just off camera. I'm sure she'll be back on. You got work in the morning, right, Daily? Thanks for hanging out with us, and thank you for your support as always. Some cool pulls. I hope you're happy with them, and I'll see you around, Daily. Now what we need in order to build this character is a handy dandy manual of player character golems. Because we're going to be building some PC golems here, everyone. And so to start things out, there was a redemption of points to roll. Grainwald. Grainwald, will you please type !roll space 1D100 and get us going on this Artificer character. And we will be making the Artificer out to level 20 so we can just see, you know, what exists. How does it work over time? I don't power level, simply because the number of subscriptions to the channel dictate how many boxes of minis I give away in every monthly raffle. And so, I mean, the goal would be to have, you know, the goal would be to have 100, 200, because it turns around and it lets me pop more boxes open of minis to ship out to you all. So honestly, the more, I certainly appreciate it because it tells me I'm doing a good job, but it's also a way for me to give back to people who are a part of the community and they stop by and you gotta be number one. I think there's a song about being number one. Whoa! Power level. Thank you for handing. Oh, so Bewitchcraft is here. James Norris and the Bronson have all been gifted subs by power level. We are number one. Thank you. You can finally eat again. Yeah. You can have food. I'm just kidding. She's fed very well. Yeah, oh my god. So, everyone, can you please spam some Matty Morg's love and luck to power level for gifting those subs out? I would like you to just bury power level in love and appreciation. Cat butts, you can bury power level in cat butts. Thank you very, very much. Can you say thank you? Ma'am? Can you say thank you? I think that's as close as you're going to get, is she's going to stare menacingly into your soul power level. Uh-oh. Someone got nuked by the bot. No, power levels, she is. I was just making I was making a goof. Okay. Are we good? Did you say thank you? Okay. Look at that tsundere face. Power level, do you see this? She's like, oh, okay. Well, it's not like I like you or anything, but thanks for the subscriptions. I see all. Hypnotoad. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, y'all. Thank you. It is appreciated. How do you make your blocks like that in Google Docs? Maybe I should YouTube a tutorial. I am not the one who arranged it in this way. I was simply the one who got things going, and was the brainchild. Or like, this was the brainchild, but the actual implementation was created by Jeremy, aka Trustaflumph, over at D&D Time. Since he helped out by well, really, it's been an evolution. This document started out fitting on a one-page OpenOffice Word document, like a word processing document. Bubonic one stepped up, and with his help, got it into a calculator or an Excel format. So it was a little bigger, a little fancier looking. And then after that, it continued to evolve when Trustaflumph flumped up and wanted to help. And this is I guess this is the third iteration after the original Word document of it. All hail the Flumph. Oh, good. You got the minis today, Bronson? I hope that they arrived in good shape. You can get the Excel. You can get the Excel prototype, or like the first version of it, Raz. That's a pinned message and table talk on our Discord. All right, so we got a 63. We have a male character. Now for the race, we are going to. Whoops. We're going to keep this vanilla. This first character we are just going to make using the player's handbook to see if anything is out of line with I guess the original basis of measuring power creep and abilities and things along those lines. And to roll the race, Azrael, will you please roll a D9 in chat to let us know which race we're working with? You rolled a 3, and so we have an elf. And if we come down here, what kind of elves exist? Well, from the options we have selected, there are the 3 here. We have Drow, High Elf, and Wood Elf. And so, I'm glad. Yeah, you said you're a fan of Knowles, Bronson. I'm glad it arrived well. So Bronson, will you please roll a D3 in chat? Exclamation point roll space 1D3. Lightning Dragon says a drow would be neat. Well, if Bronson rolls a 1, we'll have a drow. We have a high elf. We have a male high elf. And Lightning Dragon, will you please roll a D100 in chat to give us our alignment? Yeah, I agree. 44. We have a lawful neutral. No claws. Male, high elf, medium-sized, lawful neutral, artificer, armorer, level 20. All right, next up, let's roll to see if we're going to replace any ability score improvements with feats. And I could use the help of Nina. Are you still hanging out, Nina Wang? If so, I could use a D100 roll in chat. Yeah, we're getting power armor with the armorer. We might have lost Nina. It happens. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Just when I thought Nina had retracted, once more with a powerful thrust forward, we're given what we asked for. And rolled a 7, so we're going to take all stat bumps. All stat bumps. Now for character background selection. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Hey, hey, hey. We have 18 of them. My thrust strength is 16 metric tons. Where do you go to get that measured? Raz, I need you to roll an 18-sided die in chat, please, to redeem your inspiration points for this roll. Is Tony Stark the God Emperor of Mankind? Yes. Little known fact. Rolls a 15. We have a sailor. We have a sailor. Background? Sailor. And when we come down here to sailor... Come on now. There's no additional rolls, as a sailor's a sailor, but we might be able to still take bad reputation, which is normally included as a pirate. But you might be a sailor with a bad reputation instead of the normal sailor ability to cruise around. Yeah, 40k lore is very crunchy, Bronson. Someone who ran Dark Heresy for several years, yes it is. Yeah, exactly, Zen. Yeah, we might have almost like the ship's engineer. Now we need 2 personality traits and then an ideal bond and flaw. So Zen the Shaman, can you please type !roll space 2d8. Lightning says, this is kind of funny. This character almost became my own drow, minus the whole class part. And hopefully then maybe you can find some inspiration with this character to bleed over into your own. 1 and 5 are going to be our placeholders for personality traits. And then I need someone else. Lucky. Lucky I am. Will you please type !roll space 3d6 to give us our ideal, bond, and flaw? 2, 2, and 1. Excellent. Now, we already know our character class is Artificer, and our subclass is going to be Armorer. So I'm not going to be worried about that. We come down here to Elf, and we select that we are a High Elf. And now, how old is our Armorer Sailor? Power level. Power level, will you please type exclamation point roll space 1D100 to indicate how old our character is? Well, I try and interact with folks in chat, Lucky, and you can also redeem your inspiration points with the little symbol down below. This is what it looks like. It looks like that. You can always redeem points to lock in a roll as well. The monk's just not for you, Greenwald? Why is that? You just don't, like, maybe you're not, like, a Melee fan, or... Should have been a pirate, an Artificier with armor subclass. So Zen, this is a... this isn't the... like the legal age or the age of majority in the culture. This is simply, this is like the biological age. As elves are, elves develop about as quickly as humans do. And so a child elf would have the stature and even the mentality of a human around that time. But to type in the differences for every race's either stated or presumed, like for elves, elves reach adulthood at 100, but it's different for dwarves and humans and all these others. So the age that you see here is the physical maturity, not necessarily the legal status of the person. That sounds close to being right, Lightning Dragon. We must have lost power level. I don't see power level here, so... who else is hanging out that hasn't rolled yet? Cold Spark, are you here? Actually, Raz. Raz, I haven't had you... oh, no, wait. Raz, you rolled the background. Cold Spark, are you here? Oh, Chris is still here. Chris, roll a D100 in chat, please. Don't forget to splash Barbarian for that extra 10 feet of movement, too. Rolled a oh, so we actually have a child prodigy. We have, like, a super genius kid who's a power armor making elf who works as a sailor. Yeah. So something like this can create a very interesting story. Shoot. What is that from, Bronson? Double. It's from dude who has the dragon gauntlet. There's a bunch of devils in it too. High School DxD. Is that what that is? I describe it differently, but I'm trying to keep my channel PG-13. And so, let's have... Death Angel, can you please type exclamation point roll space 1d6 plus 5? It's a pinned message in Table Talk. Lucky. It's 1:38. There ain't no time for PG-13. It's rated MA around here. Alright, so we have a 10-year-old child prodigy. Fluffy Sheep. She's going to be probably about the size of a gnome anyway here. Base height is normally 4'6". Honestly, we should probably take a little bit of weight off. And so if you would do me a favor and take a... roll a d10 in chat, and let's find out how many inches she's losing in height. All right, so she is 4'3". Now the base weight is 90. I think we can still roll the d4 and then multiply that by that and take that weight off also. It is taller than a gnome. You are correct. And so, Nina, go ahead and roll a d4 in chat, and then let's take some weight off of this child prodigy. Now, you know, she... this could be... 3. So 12 pounds off. And so she is 78 pounds at 4'3". And she's like some kind of child genius at 10. And, you know, in this case too, as a prompt, if for some reason you don't want to have a kid in this instance, but you are willing to do that, then did something happen? Is this a case closed scenario where she was Jimmy Cujo'd and was put back into a younger version of herself? She was turned into a kid. Is this a case where, as an artificer, there was a magical experiment that went wrong, and so she might look like she's 10, but she's actually, I mean, elves live to what, 700 in D&D terms, longer depending if you want. She could be 500, but she's just maintained. You know, she's for whatever reason, she stopped aging at 10. So whatever you like, whatever you want to have as something that makes you feel comfortable. Otherwise, if you want to tell the story about a 10-year-old, I mean, you have a Pokemon trainer who went out and became the Pokemon master of the world. That's what being level 20 means. You're the Pokemon master. But something happened that she's like a super brain, and she's also, and she is a sailor, probably like an armorer. I mean, this could be a figure that makes the ships for the Fire Nation. All of this nation's ships are actually ironclads. Ironclads. They could be ironclad ships, or maybe she's inventing the first cannons or something along those lines. Oh no, you're right. I'm sorry. No, we do have a male. It is just recently Ash won the Pokemon League, so yeah, it took a while, and Ash has been 10 forever. Although I think they've actually aged him in the. Hopefully the mental state is a little bit more stable than in Azula's. Ah, Fire Nation. See, so Bronson apparently would love an Azula. Nina is giving a nebulous comment. I'm not sure how to read that in regards to this character being Azula. But let's continue, shall we? All right, so we have our placeholders. Before we go and get into the nitty-gritty of the class and the subclass, we're going to open up our player's handbook to chapter 4 and scroll to S for Sailor. I went too far. There we go. Soldier. There we go. Sailor. Tinker Tailor. We have skill proficiencies in athletics and perception. We have tool proficiencies with navigator's tools and vehicles water. we get some equipment, which would be our favorite belaying club to whack people who annoy us. We'll see what her personality is if you want to know if we have an Azula or not. 50 feet of silk rope. A lucky charm. A lucky charm, which is going to be a trinket. And trinket number what? One person's table, they used a modded standard array for stats, but the 15's a 17. So the PCs get at least one major stat, but still have that 10 to 8. It's not terrible. It's an extra +1 up front. I don't know if that necessarily breaks anything. But, you know, Lightning Dragon, a character can hit 20 in their stat really easily. And so, I mean, obviously every table's the same. I'm not going to poo-poo the DM who made that as a decision for his or her campaign. Lightning Dragon, can you do me a favor real quick, though? Can you roll a percentile in chat and let me know which trinket? More power may help, yeah. Rolled a 6. So her lucky charm as a sailor is number 6. And we'll explore what that is here in a while. Now our feature... Oh, I'm sorry. We also get some common clothes. And we also get a coin pouch with 10 gupas in it. For a background feature, we can take either ship's passage, or if we think it's appropriate, we can give her a bad reputation. I just do 46 automatic rerolls on the ones drop the lowest extra credit if they take the low stats. Yeah, see, we all have home recipes for this. 10 gupas, yep. You know what? I want some sailing music. We have someone who's some kind of a shipwright in her own regard. Let's do this. Okay. Time to bust out some sea shanties. Now for her personality. For his personality. What would you do with the drunken sailor? Let's find out if he gets up early in the morning. I even said Jimmy Cujo, too. I don't know why this is... Yep, there we go. Azrael is stepping in. We gotta solve these mysteries, and we do it by inventing devices. Suggested characteristics. Number 1. My friends know they can rely on me no matter what. This is very good anime protagonist so far. And number 5. To me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city. Now, whether or not he participates is another question. Though he might look back and say, oh, interesting. This is how people fight. This is how I need to modify armor. You know, oh, here. Go test out this armor. Get into a fight in the bar. You know? Uh-huh. Okay. It's always Old Man Smithers. Oh, you think he instigates Nina? Oh. Ho-ho. What a mischievous kiddo. Well, it doesn't have to be... If you don't want it to be taverns, it could simply... Yeah. You can simply say, use another prompt. You know, so to me, I don't know, a wrestling match. That could be with the sailors aboard his ship. That could be in a marketplace or at a sporting event. And so what this is indicating is he has an interest in combative arts. And at the daycare, he pushes other kids around on the on the playground. But hey, what better way to test your armor, right? By the way, when you all see what Armorer does, this kid might have just like straight up nuked people. Alright, that's his personality trait. If you're his friend, you can rely on him no matter what. And he seems to have an interest in the combative arts, and that could help him with his armoring. His ideal is number 2. Fairness. We all do the work, so we all share in the rewards. It's pretty powerful. I am Iron Kid. He becomes a gladiatorial domina, grooming other children into masters of combat just to test out his sick armor. Billy, I made this hat made out of aluminum foil. It'll protect your head. Let's go test it. All my characters have always been adults, but you could play someone like Jim from Treasure Island, I guess. And that's why... So I include the 5% chance to get Child Prodigy because it shakes things up. It has us examine how can a character like this exist? What has happened at any level, whether it's level 1 or level 20? You want to play Guybrush Threepwood. Have a DM good at puzzles. What is his bond? Number 2. The ship is most important. Crewmates and captains come and go. Ah. The ship, the thing which perhaps we've built, is the most important. Crewmates and captains come and go. So we can be relied upon, but we're relied upon because what we do it for the ship. And what is our flaw? Our flaw is number 1. I follow orders even if I think they're wrong. Like a young Scotty, perhaps, yeah. Or, there was a cabin boy. This could be like the son of the captain. So, he was born into this profession. Grew up on a boat, knows all the terms. The sailors don't have to worry about cussing around him because he's heard worse from others. But has grown up, has taken an interest in the ship and how it floats and sails and does all of these things. And so we have this child prodigy that something happened that accelerated his understanding, but you can still have people you call friends, but the ship is very important, maybe above said friends at moments. Or how about this too? Again, if you want to play a kid character, have fun with it. Talk to your DM about it, because your DM might say, there's a lot of things that we're going to explore with this campaign, and for my own reasons or whatever, you may not want to have a kid that is involved in a wartime story of extreme violence, or a story that might have other content that you would not feel comfortable running. It's whatever the context is. You could be perfectly comfortable and say, yeah, that's the captain's kid. He's seen and said worse. We're fine. We have an old salt at 10 who's been aboard here, and you know what? He knows what happens in a sword fight. He's seen people die. He's seen guts spill out. if you want to use this as a prompt, similar to what Zen said, why is a 10-year-old going into a tavern? Well, it doesn't have to be a tavern, but in the spirit of what we rolled, it is indicating that wherever he is, or he might have a preferred place, he wants to see people fight. I wonder by the fact he is level 20 if he already has surpassed his father. And now, how about this thought too? If you want to take the prompt that we have what appears to be a 10-year-old elf boy, but we have someone who's an expert at repairing the ship, and someone who, wants to earn the trust and respect of the crewmates, but the ship comes first. We have someone who's not exactly, big on social graces, as he slips down to the oasis. Oh, he has friends in low places. What if this character, you sit down and you talk to the DM, and this character is in appearance that of a 10-year-old elven child? What if this character is actually the manifested spirit of the ship? And the ship itself might be 10, the ship might be 100, but because it's maybe it's a living vessel or something has happened. And so we actually have almost like a commander Data. Data in Star Trek Next Generation is what, 2 years old? However, you and the DM sit down and you're statted like a PC, except you're presented as this 10-year-old child, but can do fantastic things. The other players have no idea, and this is a fun wink and nod between you and your DM, where everyone finds out that you're actually like the spirit of the ship. You're a manifestation so that the ship can run with few or no people, or that you manifested because of something that happened. And over the course of your adventure, this comes to fruition. Heck, you might even discuss it as player to DM, but the character doesn't know that he is the ship. He's been brought up as a 10-year-old elven kid. Or maybe he's older, he looks 10, and everyone keeps calling him Shrimp or Shorty or whatever. Even though he's smart. And no one ever really questions it, because whatever, you sail around, you meet interesting people. And throughout the adventure, then, boom, this is why we have a child prodigy that is so, intertwined with the ship, is so ingrained, can fix anything on the ship. Can repair one little splinter to, replacing the mast with block and tackle and all this other stuff. In the Royal Navy of the 17th and 18th century, a kid could go aboard a ship as a cabin boy as early as 6. In the Divinity Original Sins 2 game, the ship you sail on is made from dead elves. The elves turn into trees when they die in that world. Oh, all right then. Azrael, there's a similar concept in Warhammer 40k with the Eldar, because when the Eldar die, they turn into these soul gems, which then the living Eldar use in their craft worlds and other things. And if it was in Spelljammer, I will have to take your all's word for it, because I'm not an expert in that setting. So yeah, there's all sorts of fun stuff you can do with this. And so you know what? We'll follow orders, because that's what a ship does. A ship doesn't know, if the captain wants to turn it into a reef. And so we're actually kind of a personification of the ship. Or honestly, if you like it, like what you're talking about, IRL, you could be a cabin boy at 6. Even in the Navy, let alone a private vessel. This could just be an elven kid who grew up, has the smarty pants genes. Or is possessed by a ghost of someone, or there was treasure brought aboard, and the kid came into contact with some kind of a gem that instilled an immense intelligence. You know, what if he's actually wearing a not a periaptive wisdom, a headband of intellect, and so he actually has like the spirit, or at least the mentality, of this ancient shipwright, or even a modern one that died, but stored his knowledge in a piece of jewelry that, if he's a cabin boy, the captain gave to him as a reward for, you know, his cut of the treasure. But maybe it looked like a dull necklace, but whatever. The cabin boy can get something too. Gave it to him, and suddenly, brains. That could explain things. Hey, Hark, welcome. How did Critical Role go? So this is his personality. Hey, Ready to Nap, welcome. This is his personality. This is how he expresses himself. Now, as an elf, let's find out, you know, we found out who he is. Let's find out what he is as an elf. Dexterity increases by 2. And our speed is 30 feet. We do get 60 feet of dark vision. We have proficiency in the perception skill. Now, this is something to bring up to your DM. We already have proficiency in perception from being a sailor. If there's a redundancy, ask your DM what to do. And your DM might say, take expertise then, because you doubled up. And maybe you get to add your proficiency bonus twice. Or maybe your DM says, well, put it in something else that you want then. Or might say, well, as an elf, especially as a 10-year-old, where did you grow up and what did you do? What would be something that would reflect your character, similar to how half-elves get skills as a racial trait, or the variant human. Or you might have a DM that says, tough noogies, but if anything overlaps, I will not allow you to replace one skill that overlaps, because I am being irrationally obstinate in my interpretation of a game where we are supposed to have fun as friends. And you might have a DM that does that. You know, says, suck it up, Buttercup, you don't get anything. Congratulations, you lose and I win, because I'm the best DM in the world. I mean, you might want to find another DM at that point, but, hey, things happen. Would you get expertise, or would you get to replace it and throw it in something else? In this case, you know, we have a child prodigy, someone who grew up, is very smart, is this armorer. Perhaps, or even as a ship. Or even as a ship. I don't know, what if that translates to knowledge nature? We can identify ores as repair materials, or types of wood, and other things. What if we have a knowledge of nature? And that could be the extension of working on a ship, or being an extension of the ship. With that other idea. So, let's play with that. Well, I don't know about insight, because he's not really an insightful person. You know, he sticks up for friends, Zen, but he's not necessarily a people person. The ship comes first. Very analytical in that case. And, well, you know, always bring it up and ask. You know, if I do get an overlap, will you give me expertise, or will you let me pick something else? Probably wisdom. Well, I don't. That's a good question. Let's explore, because our scores are one of the last things that we put on. Let's explore that in a little bit. Let's find out more about the character before we look at stats. We do get Fey ancestry. And that's going to be advantages versus being charmed. And also, magic can't put us to sleep. Also, we can trance if we want to. We can leave our consciousness behind. And get a full rest once a day over a 4-hour break. Possibly history. History can reflect a lot of things. It could reflect not just, book history. It could also be, the royal houses or the noble houses, their standards and flag bearers and allied families. History could even be a role to be aware of, like, current events and things like that, too. Possibly a low charisma. We'll get there. Don't worry. Everyone, don't be in such a rush to put numbers on the character. Let's find out who our character is first. The stats will manifest, I promise. The stats will come. Let's get the character made first. Because the numbers are numbers. They're a part of the character, but they're not the character. As a high elf, our intelligence score increases by 1. And we do get elf weapon training.
To think we've spent over a year together and we still haven't held hands yet. My expectations were so high. Tongue.
Nictorak, you can't talk about holding hands in this PG-13 stream. What are you doing? I thought we were going to keep this in private messages. Dude. My goodness, 12 months, Nictorak. Thank you so much. And enjoy your spicy salsa next to your name as well. Cheers to you. In fact, cheers to you. We get a wizard cantrip. Because we're SMRT. We learned something. So cantrip, one cantrip of your choice from the wizard spell list. And intelligence is the ability. Well, wouldn't you know, as an artificer, intelligence is our casting ability there too. So our cantrip from our race is there, and we get an extra language. So as an elf, we're going to speak Common, Elven, and one other. Maybe Mage Hand? Maybe. Spells? Not going to worry about spells until the end. Spells are an extension of the character, but, while I could imagine a character like this using Mage Hand in a productive way, I'm not worried about that just yet. We're getting some placeholders down first. And, oh, hey. We have, it is ML Mach 6. Welcome, and thank you very much for the follow. I hope you're enjoying what we're doing so far. So, congratulations. We are a sailor. We're also a high elf. And now it's time to discover who are we? Who? As an artificer. Masters of unlocking magic in everyday objet, artificers are supreme inventors. They see magic as a complex system waiting to be decoded and controlled. Artificers use tools to channel arcane power, crafting magical objects. To cast a spell, an artificer could use alchemist supplies to create a potent elixir, calligrapher supplies to inscribe a sigil of power on an ally's armor, or tinker's tools to craft a temporary charm. The magic of artificers is tied to their tools and their talents. Tied to tools and talents. Now, we're not necessarily making an Eberron-specific sailor. So if you do have, Eberron knowledge, we can use it as inspiration, but we don't have to apply Eberron norms or thoughts to this character. I have no idea why, but the cavity creeps jumped in my head because they make something. It's a Crest commercial. Okay, I Sorry. Deer in headlights. I'm trying to make sense of this, and I'm like, was there a mistype? Think. What? Cavity creeps? What? Reference. Categorically going through with my processor here. And unfortunately, I seem to be shooting steam out my ears. Okay. I was around then, but I don't know if I'd remember the cavity creeps then. Grainwald apparently thinks that elves are suspicious. No, ready to nap, you're fine. Cat. Be good. Johnny, be good. Okay, we're not multi-classing, so we're good on that. Class features. We are a D8 hit die class, and so we have 20 D8 hit die that we can use to gain hit points on our rests without having to use magic or potions. Armor proficiencies, light, medium, and shields. Simple weapons. So we have elf weapon training and simple weapon training. We have navigator's tools, vehicles, water, thieves' tools, tinker's tools, and one type of artisan's tools of our choice. And okay, so Grainwald is for the dwarfs. Effectively they would. In this case, if we have also a shipwright, I think having carpenter's tools would be appropriate. Our saving throws are going to be Constitution and Intelligence. And then we're going to get to choose 2 skills from Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Perception, or Sleight of Hand. Well, you know, history came up. Zen had that as a good idea. So I think history could work. Investigation might be a good one if we're a designer, if we're an engineer. We're trying to use engineering and put plans into motion. Investigation would be a strong one for us. He already has perception from the sailor background. And he actually he technically got a double perception because he's also an elf. And so we bumped perception to nature. So let's put it into investigation. Starting equipment, not going to worry about it because we're going to have strength weapons and we're going to have dex weapons. And for a level 20 character, I don't know, we probably have super duper D magical stuff, armor, and from ourselves, let alone from anyone else. So let's just put, if he attacks with a strength weapon, this, a dex weapon, that. Optional rule, firearm proficiency. Now this is a good conversation to have with your dungeon master. Do firearms exist? Or if they don't, has this character been a forerunner in its research and implementation? And if not firearms in terms of pistolas, then perhaps, cannons, bigger, more, maybe more primitive things. Yes, Ghosts of Saltmarsh does have a shipwright background specifically. And on top of that, Grainwald, if you take the, it's not ensign, the bosun. If you are the bosun of the ship, because there's kind of an unofficial extra background if you are an officer on the ship, as a bosun, you would get carpenter proficiency and some other things that would be related to fixing ships. Yeah, so firearms. If not that, then you're a cannoneer, a bombard, a grenadier. Grenadier was a fun and interesting anime. Which, if you ever want to make a gun kata monk, that main character would teach you the meaning of speed and efficiency. This is Eberron Rising from the Last War, Lucky, as this is what contains the Artificer class. Although I believe with the living PDF, if you bought the first Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, I believe that has been updated with what was released in Rising from the Last War so that you didn't have to buy a second book. All right, we have a +6 proficiency at level 20. We know 4 cantrips. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And we are a half caster, and so our spell slots are 4, 3, 3, 3, 2. If that is correct, press 1. If not, beep. Well, yeah, so that's why I label this one C for cantrip, as it's found in the racial, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4 are the 4 that we're getting from our class. Yep. So we know 5, and we'll be able to play around with 4 of them as an artificer, because they can do that fun stuff. We can cast cantrips and spells and rituals, even to our half caster, which is pretty cool. We have a special artificer. An Artificer class spell list as well, so bear that in mind. And let's start giving ourselves features. You know, we get magical tinkering and spell casting. We come over here to class, we get magical tinkering. At first level, you learn how to invest a spark of magic into mundane objects. To use this ability, you must have Tinker's tools or other artisan's tools in hand. You then touch a tiny non-magical objet as an action and give it one of the following magical properties. And the properties are there for you to read. I'm not doing a deep delve into the Artificer class, though we can reference things that would come up and maybe also help enhance this character. If any of you like the idea that this is actually a manifestation of the ship, then what if this is almost like a Pinocchio, where the boy, you know, we actually have someone who might look like a real boy, or might just be carved to look like an elven youth. And we have this concept, again, if you want to hide it and make it a surprise or whatever, we have this concept where what if this character finds out, might already know or might need to find out, that it's actually just some, there's a little magic in that old top hat they found. And when they placed it on the deck, it began to dance around. And what if this person finds out that his entire life and identity is nothing more than a little bit of animating magic, which could explain why he's so proficient at manipulating it in objects. Because he himself is an animated object. Mechanically, you're still running an elf. Mechanically, you're still running an artificer. Thematically, you are making a compelling character that even at 10 years old can have major explorations and crises revolving identity, the concept of self, thinking about a future. Am I a real person? Or it could still be a flesh and blood elf boy if you want, and we can have similar explorations. As you know, he may have embraced the cold hard hands of science, or had this intrinsic, you're You're a wizardary. You know, that kind of like intrinsic magical manipulation inside of you because of your birth. Animated Inception. Yeah, well, we referenced Data. Absolutely, Death Angel. Data, I think, again, I think Data's like 2 years old when they meet him. Well, no, I guess he was kind of... No, he wasn't freshly created. Because he had a lot... There was a lot of things that happened before he was put to sleep and the crystalline entity came by. Oh, wait, was he 30? I thought he was super young. Okay. Oh, no, you know what? He did live among the colonists for a while, didn't he? Now, he got upgrades that kind of enhanced it. Well, he got a de-evolution there towards the end. Well, he had to go through Starfleet Academy, but I thought he was on like a super accelerated track in that. But no, you're right. You're right. He lived with the colonists, then the Academy, and then he was in Starfleet. Okay. Well, I humbly accept that I was incorrect. Are you done scratching and meowing? You gonna come up and say hi? Yeah, there he is. There's the big boy. That would have been a fun. So instead of young Sheldon, we should have had young Data. Although Brent Spiner, I don't think... Didn't he say something like he didn't like Data, or... Well, I know he said he doesn't like cats personally, which made working with Spot a little difficult. But isn't there something where he said that he, you know, if he was ever asked to go play Data again, he wouldn't? Maybe it was the makeup and the contacts or something. Or he didn't, I don't know. The makeup might have been a major thing, yeah. Yeah. All right, everyone, we're stopping what we're doing, and we're going to Memory Alpha because we have to know. This is a nerd alert. Nerd alert. Nerd alert. How old is Data? Stop literally everything. We gotta know. To Memory Alpha. Oh, actually, it looks like Fluffy Sheep coming in here, pushing the glasses up on his sheepy nose. According to Memory Alpha, Data was first activated in 2338, and TNG Season 1 was 2366. It's actually, Fluffy, I actually appreciate that. And I'll tell you, 2364. There's something that tickles, like, my inner soul to imagine a sheep wearing glasses come up to someone randomly and go, actually, and then quote a Star Trek fact. That absolutely delights me. And I think my existence is actually in a better place now because we just had this happen. Thank you, Fluffy. Not that I wasn't having a fun night with you all, but I am tickled. I am irrationally tickled by an actually sheep. 26. All right, nerds. How old was Brent Spiner when... Oh, gosh. You all... This is why we hang out, everyone. This is why we hang out. Ready nap. See that? Things like that jump in my head all the time. Well, careful. You get too many sheep jumping in your head. Ready. Fluffy Sheep wields a very extreme and relevant power here. Fluffy Sheep jumps over fences. And that is... Okay, and he was 37 at the time. Really? Wow. It's so you're ready to nap. Fluffy Sheep jumps over the fence, and then it's straight to the nap. The answer to that is yes, Lightning. Oop. I know you want to lay down and there's not a lot of desk. We covered this earlier. It's come full circle, buddy. There's barely any desk here for you. Yes, and Fluffy Sheep is the esteemed Bright, our divination wizard, Gnome. And sometimes I do appear on... I will not be on D&D time tomorrow. But I guess technically later tonight. Alright, anyway. Sorry, getting back to this. Alright, you ready? We got a good throat scratching in. And... Are you going to wheeze? Did we loosen up your hair? Yeah, with awesome pink hair. Artificer spell list. So we can tinker with spells. Again, use this to build your character. It's not just a class feature. Make this a part of your character's identity. Especially if you want to play a character that is a magical manifestation, a consciousness of a ship. Perhaps it's sailed for so long, it's been exposed to so many things, it picked up a nascent intelligence and effectively manifested a child. And the child is the representation of the ship. We can infuse item. Infuse item. There are rules for this. I'm going more over the mechanics here, but we're going to know 12 infusions and can have 6 items infused. Infuse item, known 6. I'm sorry, known 12. Infused 6. Our Artificer Specialist we'll get to. We have the ability of the right tool for the job. You know how to produce exactly the tool you need. With Tinker's tools in hand, you can magically create one set of artisan tools in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you. ASIs, and then Tool Expertise. At 6th level, your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses your proficiency with a tool. Tool Expertise. We then get Flash of Genius. 7th level, you gain the ability to come up with solutions under pressure. When you or another creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an ability check or saving throw, you can use your reaction to add your intelligence modifier to the roll. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier minimum once. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So that's int per long rest. Next up, we are a magic item adept. When you reach 10th level, you achieve a profound understanding of how to use and make magic items. You can attune to up to 4 magic items at once. If you craft a magic item with a rarity of common or uncommon, it takes you a quarter of the normal time and costs you half as much. And then we also have a spell storing item. 11th level, you know how to store a spell in an object. When you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon, or one item you can use as a spell casting focus, and you store a spell in it. Spell stays in the object until it's been used a number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier, or until you use the feature again. We are a magic item savant. 14th level, your skill with magic items deepens more. You can attune to up to 5 items, and you ignore all class, race, spell, and level requirements on attuning to or using a magic item. At 18, we get Magic Item Master. At 18th level, you can attune to up to 6 items at once. And then at level 20, we get a capstone ability of just the Artificer. No subclasses yet. Soul of Artifice. You develop a mystical connection with your magic items, which you can draw for protection. You gain a +1 bonus to all saving throws per magic item you're currently attuned to. Ooh. Stack that with a paladin or something else. If you're, of course, you're epic level, so I mean, honestly, that's fine. If you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can use your reaction to end one of your Artificer infusions, causing you to drop to 1 hit point instead of 0. All right. A clockwork bomb that has been infused, we call him Wick. Other than the Scuttlers on Red Dwarf, says Radiant. Oh, because you're talking about, I'm sorry, some other things here. Bright might be getting a new hairstyle soon. Uh-oh. Oh, I wonder what she's going to go for. Are we going to go for... I was going to ask if you're going to go for a pixie cut, but that might be offensive, considering everything that's just happened. Bright, Bright would be kind of interesting if she went for kind of like the really short, almost like a military style, like almost like a little buzz cut. Because, I don't know, there's something about like a tough little pink-haired gnome. Well, I guess we'll find out. Everyone stay tuned on Tuesday, because even the DM doesn't know what's going to be happening with Bright's hair. One of the crew just... Yeah, so Zen, maybe one of the crew found a child, and they all thought that the child was a stowaway. Even though the child is a manifestation. But, the child had amnesia or something like that. Or, couldn't speak. And so they were already out to sea. And maybe they just put the kid to work. And the kid had since grown and grown accustomed to people, but always had a knack, was always useful, was never a pain. No one ever came looking for the kid. And so actually, despite being born from the ship in the ship's hold, the crew just took in the kid because he's useful. It'll be the following week, though, once we get down to... Eventually, you'll have downtime. Bright probably won't get a buzz cut unless we get another class change. Fluffy, if you want to pursue something like a class change in downtime, I'm not opposed to it. I think you're the only person who asked after it, but I'm not necessarily opposed to it. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. Now, let's explore the armorer. The An artificer who specializes as an armorer modifies armor to function almost like a second skin. The armor is enhanced to hone the artificer's magic, unleash potent attacks, and generate a formidable defense. The artificer bonds with this armor, becoming one with it, even as they experiment with it and refine its magical capabilities. So, tools of the trade. You gain proficiency with heavy armor. So now our armor proficiency is all and shields. You also gain proficiency with smith's tools. If you already have this tool proficiency, you gain the proficiency with another type of your choice. Armor or spells. You always have certain spells prepared after you reach a particular class in this level. It's 3:33 a.m. I said that you reach a particular class in this level. Ahem. Let me try that again. Rewind. Yep. So, let's see. Tools of the trade. Oh, well, we already got that. Smith's tools, right? Armorer spells. You always have certain spells prepared after you reach particular levels in this class, as shown in the Armorer spells table. These spells count as Artificer spells for you, but they don't count against the number of Artificer spells that you prepare. These are acting kind of like domain spells or oath spells. We come down here. This was 4, 3, 3, 3, and 2. Cantrips. We had our one from being a high elf. 1, 2, 3, 4. Armorer. There we go. And so we're going to have Magic Missile and Shield. We're going to have Mirror Image and Shatter. By the way, if these spells alone are giving you an indication of things. Hypnotic Pattern and Lightning Bolt. I wonder how we fix the freezing issue, though. Ah, Fire Shield. That's how we do it. And Greater Invisibility. Pass Wall. And Wall of Force. All right, ready to nap. Thank you for hanging out with us again. It was a pleasure to have you. Cheers, my friend. And I will cheer you on with some unsweetened mint black tea. An old power play from 1E was Crystal Brittle followed by Shatter. Oh. The good old channel Fireball. Now, what else are we getting at level 3? We are getting Power Armor. Power Armor. Your metallurgical pursuits have led you to making armor a conduit for your Artificer magic. As an action, you can turn a suit of heavy armor you are wearing into power armor, provided you have smith's tools in hand. You gain the following benefits while wearing the power armor. If the armor normally has a strength requirement, the power armor lacks this requirement for you. You can use the power armor as a spell casting focus for your Artificer spells, and the power armor attaches to you and can't be removed against your will. It also expands to cover your entire body, and it replaces any missing limbs, functioning identically to a body part it is replacing. Now, if you recall, we have a 10-year-old boy who is, who could very well be trapped in a suit of armor and is able to touch things and make them appear or be manipulated. Ahem. Silly, perhaps. I'll tell you, there's a beloved character that does just this exact same thing. Even the part about replacing missing limbs. The armor continues to be power armor until you doff it, you don another suit of armor, or you die. And armor model. Armor model. Armor model. We're talking about sailing in the open sea. If you play a character that wears... You know, chainmail is heavy armor. You could have an armorer wearing functional superior chainmail bikinis. Well, I wasn't thinking Gage. I'm surprised that someone out there hasn't blurted it out or said, oh, that... Nina, I thought you're supposed to be our resident weeb. I don't know if Nina Wang's still out there. Might be in bed. You can customize your power armor. When you do so, choose one of the following armor models. Guardian or Infiltrator. The model you choose gives you special benefits while you wear it. Thank you. Thank you, Azrael. Each model includes a special weapon. When you attack with that weapon... Yeah. Hello, 10-year-old kid trapped in a giant suit of full plate armor. Has magical abilities, can touch stuff and cast through the armor. I'm sorry. It wasn't Edward. Alphonse. I mean, the metal armor is technically replacing missing limbs for Alphonse, too. Each model includes a special weapon. When you attack with that weapon, you can use your intelligence modifier instead of strength or dexterity for the attack and damage rolls. You can change your power armor's model whenever you finish a short or long rest, provided you have smith's tools in hand. So we can be a guardian. You design your armor to be in the front line of conflict. It has the following features. Thunder gauntlets. Your armored fists each count as a simple melee weapon, and each deals 1d8 thunder damage on a hit. A creature hit by the gauntlet has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you until the start of your next turn, as the armor magically emits a distracting pulse when the creature attacks someone else. Defensive field. You gain a bonus... Oh, by the way, we're still on level 3 here. You gain a bonus action that you can use on each of your turns to gain temporary hit points equal to your level in this class, replacing any temporary hit points you already have. You lose these temporary hit points if you doff the armor. Infiltrator. If we choose this mode, you customize your armor for subtle undertakings. It has the following features. A gem-like node appears on one of your armored fists or on the chest. It counts as a simple ranged weapon with a normal range of 90 feet and a long range of 300 feet, and it deals 1d6 lightning damage on a hit. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with it, you can deal an extra 1d6 lightning damage to that target. Your walking speed increases by 5 feet, and the armor's weight is negligible and becomes form-fitting and wearable under clothing. And so, you know, our chainmail bikini can become just a normal bikini, and we're getting our full AC from it. If the armor normally imposes disadvantage on stealth checks, the power armor doesn't. Yeah, Iron Man, Raz. It is a bonus action, and you know what? In later levels, it may not be as weighty, because in the low levels, when you might die to a punch, well, I mean, or get knocked out anyway, that can be big. At level 5, we get an extra attack. Then we can take armor modifications. You learn how to use your Artificier infusions to specially modify the armor enhanced by your power armor feature. That armor now counts as separate items for the purpose of your infuse item feature. Armor the chest piece, boots, bracers, and weapon. Each of those items can bear one of your infusions. In addition, the maximum number of items you can infuse at once increases by 2, but those 2 extra items must be a part of your power armor. Then at level 15, we get perfected armor. Your power armor gains additional benefits based on its model, as shown below. Guardian. Tinkering with your armor's energy system leads you to discover a powerful pulling force. When a creature you can see ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to force the creature to succeed on a strength saving throw against your spell save DC, or be pulled up to 30 feet toward you to an unoccupied space. If you pull the target to space within 5 feet of you, you can make a melee weapon attack against it as a part of this reaction. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. You regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. And if we're an infiltrator, any creature that takes lightning damage from your lightning launcher glimmers with light until the start of your next turn. The glimmering creature sheds dim light in a 5-foot radius, and the next attack roll against it by a creature other than you has advantage. If that attack hits, it deals an extra 1d6 lightning damage. Lightning, I missed 3 other choices. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Did I skip? I thought I went over this. Did I? No, we went over the walking speed increases and that because I made this here about the weight's negligible and you can stealth around. And I made the joke that your chainmail bikini actually is fully functional armor here, and on top of that, you're not alerting the guards because your armor is dummy thick. Oh, Lightning Dragon recalls that one, huh? I better use some more psychological gateways then. Talking about chainmail bikini and making some noise while walking around, huh? Gotta play to the audience, huh? Full plate equipped. Hey, Azrael, we're proficient with thieves' tools. And we're very dexterous as well. In fact, because we can attack off intelligence, and our armor is worn effectively off of intelligence, we don't strength, dexterity mean little. Like these are all just remote support stats. Wisdom, charisma, forget about it. Don't need it. As long as we have intelligence, we have ultimate defense and we have ultimate attack. And not only can we melee and take melee, but we can also cast. And, well, I mean con, because if you want to be up in the mix, yeah. You know, so you can lean into this int con build and just wield, you know, infinite cosmic power. You know, so like, yeah, my is my charismatic and my wise, whatever. Or if you want to buff up a dex save to try and, you know, jump out of the way of spells and other things, you know, then buff up dex. But why be a dexterity attacking plebeian when we can attack with our brains through our fists? I mean, this is big brain energy right here. Now, it's like an int monk, yeah. And here's it's an int monk, and instead of needing 2 stats to make ourselves have armor, we'll always have our armor. Always have our armor unless we don't want to wear our armor. It's better than monk. Monks need 2 other stats to support unarmored defense. Now, granted, I mean, you also can't remove that. Here, we can put on full plate and a shield. Non-magical, non-infused, and you know they're going to be magical and infused. And we're starting with a 20 AC that we can sleep in it, we can swim in it. We can go climbing. We can sneak around and not alert the guards. Because, again, our armor's not dummy thick and claps and makes sound. In Gnomish, it's pronounced a plebeian. Yeah, it's effectively... Well, all right, so think of it more like Lightning Dragon. I was referencing a Metal Gear meme, if anyone out there is like, what is he talking about? Think of it like the suit that Snake wears in Metal Gear 4. Or think of it like Jack's body after Metal Gear 2. Or, oh yeah, Colossus from X-Men. Biosteel. Like a biosteel. Yeah, exactly. Zen the shaman says, brain fist. We punch with our minds. With the disclaimer here, I haven't sat down and crunched numbers. That being said, I feel that this is a very powerful subclass. Is it broken? We're really, I mean, we have a character that is, I mean, our character's anime. We're really good at attacking. We're really good at casting spells. We're really good at defense. We're really good with using any tool that we want. And because we really only need one stat, we can then choose to be really good at dex or really good at charisma and getting along with people. And or. I love the fluff of this. I love the presentation of this. My instinct, without crunching numbers, my instinct is that this is... Yeah, Ezreal, I think that this is a very overpowered subclass. It would require actual playtesting. And so that's why, I mean, you know, we draw it back to the player's handbook. Of course, we've kind of drifted because this is actually... you know, an Eberron class, and then we're tacking on playtest on top of a Splat class. You just have such a diversity. Because remember, you're also getting extra spells on top of the spells that you can already prepare. And we're also modulating our cantrips, except the one we get as an elf. Now, this is where I would say, if you wanted to play this character, even as it is here, I think it would be cool if you took that approach that you are presented as being overpowered. Or you're presented as just being like, what's this kid? So you're already this unknown, like, quasi-supernatural quantity that exists. If the story can accommodate it, either as a singular exclusion to the rest of the builds of everyone else, or if this is a character that encounters can be built around, I think you can have a lot of fun with this. And the fact that we randomly rolled into this prompt that we have Alphonse Elric effectively, it writes itself. There's a saying in this channel, everyone, Iwi. You got Uwus, you got Owos, we have Iwis. It writes itself. We have a cool character with a cool background, a cool origin story. You can play it off in several ways. It requires communication with your DM. This can be an overpowering character. However, if your player, if we're DMs and your player comes to you and says, I really want to run this, and you say, well, I have hesitations because this looks really powerful. I get it. I want to play this overpowered character, but as a kid. So I'm not being efficient with things. Or, I need to learn. Like, I don't just automatically get it and am using it. I'm a new person to the world. I just woke up as a child because apparently I'm a sentient piece of armor. I'm a memory come to life from the journeys and the stories of this ship. Given this nascent life in consciousness. And if that's the case, and your player says, I get it, I think this is overpowered too, but if you trust me and roll with it, I will, I'll play into it and I'll be super powerful, but I'll also make, probably not the best decisions and can cause trouble, especially Again, it writes itself. Iwi. You know, our anime friends can count on our anime power of friendship. Also, to me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city. And it was one or two people of you when we rolled this said, is he an instigator? Is he an instigator? What if he's actually an instigator? He's a kid. He doesn't know, he doesn't know this. Or, again, he's not big on social graces. So he might just want to watch how people live and react and fight. And so he might say something or do something with his magic, either blowing a limited spell or through a device that he made or something, and he might actually like cause trouble in fights. And so, it's not optimal because he's kind of being babysitted in a sense. Now, of course, don't like pull pranks and be an instigator of another variety at your table in the meta. But this could be a way for you to approach playing this character. What happens if I punch someone in the face with my new gauntlet of face hurting? Well, magical items and how many get... That could be a limiting factor as well. Although lightning, I think it would be heavily implied, either in the Eberron setting or because you're allowing an Artificer, that magic items would exist, if only because of the Artificer and no one else in a low or no magic area. So with this, I think we are very confident. I mean, we are the collection of stories and tales and all of this. Putting the 15 in intelligence is there. We're a tough ship. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8 charisma. I don't know if he really does know how to get along with people in a proactive or have any kind of really social understanding. You want to go int, con, dex, strength, charisma, wisdom, Azrael? I guess then this would come down to, is he the manifestation of stories and tales and actions taking place on the ship, or is he an actual kid? Yeah, challenge someone to a duel and slap him with that power gauntlet. Yeah, he likes to poke the bear. Exactly, Azrael. That could be interesting, though, for a very limited magical item game that you are making the items. Maybe have more than one artificer in the group. Yeah, there are 3 other archetypes, Lightning. Wisdom and Charisma both come with age. So then... 10... 13... I just don't know if he's really charismatic. Then again, this is not my character, this is ours. I agree with Azrael on the layout. Change charisma and wisdom, but wisdom and charisma are interchangeable. Alright, so if we put Wisdom 8 and Charisma 10... This is going to give us a 15 Dex. This is going to give us a 16 Intelligence from our racial modifiers. And now we can put 10 points into our stats. Intelligence is certainly getting maxed out for a character like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. From here, I don't know if we really need to change Wisdom or Charisma around. I think it's fine having a character like this. And honestly, we could probably put... I don't know. If we want to bring Dex up a little so we get a little bit more on a save, and we put 1 point here... and then we put 4 points in Constitution. So he's swole. Unless, do you want to have a higher strength? With all the magical abilities we get, we can do whatever we want with our magic alone. Muscles are just sort of like a, you know, it's a contrivance. We actually have to use effort with our muscles. If we do it this way, though, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4 to bump it up, as an example, if you're ever floating an extra 1 here, yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, with the way that magic and magic items work, aside from our intelligence, everything else is kind of irrelevant. But if you're ever stuck with a 1 that's floating here, and you can, put it into strength. And the reason for that, our strength modifier doesn't increase from 12 to 13, but you get mechanical benefits for your weight capacity and jumping. He might Raz, or he could just use magic. Or magic items. So really, and that's where this is another concern. There is some kind of a point in this. It's called a heap paradox. If we're adding a grain of salt, if we drop a grain of salt, Tony Stark style, one at a time onto a table, at what point do we have a heap of salt? Is it grain of salt 100? Is it grain of salt 100,000? Is it grain of salt 1 million? And then you say, yeah, you know what? I think we have a heap. Well, what if I take 1 grain of salt back and we have 999,999 grains? Is that a heap? Well, that's just 1 grain. I don't see why not. Let's take away another grain. Would you still say that's a heap? Meanwhile, 1 million was a heap to you. But so too is a heap in these other directions. So be careful. If you play characters similar to this, or if you're in pursuit of particular magic items, please don't lose your character to simply be the bearer of stats and magic items that anyone can do. Have a strong character. Play your character and use the items as tools, but don't let your character be lost to the tools that he uses. Well, in this case, he. If you're playing a she character, then sure. Hey, I was playing around with Red Sonja. You can have a chainmail bikini, full armor, 20 AC, chainmail bikini, or I guess it'd be like a full plate bikini. A full plate bikini and a shield, and you got a 20 AC. Yeah, well, and a lot of that was set up to be that way, Azrael. There you go, skin-colored full plate. Yeah, well, because of course you can prestidigitate items to look like whatever you want. So with this, strength modifier, dex, con, int, wisdom, and charisma. 1 saving throw and 7 athletics. 3 down the line for dex. This is going to be Constitution 10, Intelligence 11 for the save. And also for History, Investigation, and Nature with a 5 Arcana and a 5 Religion. Perception's still going to be a +5, though everything else Wisdom-based is going to be a -1. And then Charisma are straight zeros down the line. Our armor class, I super don't know, especially with this character. What is your armor that you've infused? What is the armor you've made? What is the armor you're wearing? Is it chainmail? Is it full plate? Is it super duper full plate plus 11 billion? Do you have a shield or not? So we can't really calculate that, and so you'd have to use the abilities up here to calculate this character's armor class on your own. Our initiative is a +3 because that's a dex check. our hit points, we get all 8 of our D8 hit die at level 1. For our remaining 19 levels, we get 5 at the half plus 1 methodology, which I recommend. Though you might have a DM that has you roll. Then for all 20 of our levels, we get bonus hit points equal to our Constitution modifier. So this is going to be an extra 80 hit points. Then, of course, we have 95. This is 175 plus 8, 183 hit points at level 20, with probably an approximately 11 billion AC and a pretty decent dex save. Now, where do you hit this person that it could really hurt them? I'd say wisdom, but honestly, we have potions and magic items. We could make ourselves very much into an invincible Mary Sue. Strength-based weapons. If we're attacking, why? But sure, if we attack with a strength-based weapon instead of our brain, like Zen said, we're punching people with our brains. That's a +7. If we're attacking off of Dex, it's a +9. If we're actually, this can go into a stat line. If we're attacking with weapons off of intelligence, because we can, we are rolling at a +11 with our melee attacks. And by the way, +11 is our spell attacks as well. And to resist our magic, you need a 19. As that is your attack modifier plus that floating 8 to determine difficulty class. Why have anything else other than this? For the saves or for, side roleplay. It had to be a Gary Lou. I thought it was a Marty Stew. You have yeah, it's a Marty Stew. Yeah. You have Mary Sue's and Marty Stews. Yeah, Mary Sue is coined as a generic, and that's part of it too, right? If you make a Mary Sue character, I'm half demon, but I'm also half angel, and I was born to elves, so I'm half elf. However, I have the heart and ambition of a human, so I'm also half human. And I have all of the grace and beauty of a woman, but all the strength of a man. And I've taken level in wizard, but I would like to ask my DM to allow me to cast off charisma as a wizard. I think it's balanced because if I'm ever to get hit, it would ruin my face and therefore my spell casting. Now, never you mind that I'm taking purely defensive spells that will always protect me from taking any damage, but that is my weakness. Because I'm casting off of charisma as a wizard with unlimited spells, if I ever take damage, I won't be able to cast as well. I might take a -1 if I take every 10 hit points of damage. That doesn't go unhealed after 2 rounds. I didn't mention that? Well, I felt that it was fair, and it would balance my character that's half demon, half elf, half human, half angel. A charisma-based wizard that also can wear full plate armor, because while I was raised as a devil, my uncle was a demon who forged abyssal armor, and so he taught me at an early age how to wear armor. That's in my backstory. I don't think that breaks my character, because it's demon armor, and the only thing that can puncture demon armor are angel bolts, and of course my mother, who's angel, controls the flow of angel bolt supply. And so I'm always super close to angel bolts, even though they'll never be released to the public and can never be used against me. It's still something that my character broods over, that my own mother may one day decide to send an angel bolt to pierce my uncle's abyssal armor. Yeah, also, I have a helmet of undamageable face. Y'all, this has been a night. What's our passive perception? Oh yeah, it's 15. 10 plus our perception modifier. Saves you a bunch of dice rolls. You should know the spiel by now. We come down here, our spellcasting ability. Really, this is our everything ability. Our defensive ability, our melee ability, and our spell is int. Spell save is 19. We have a plus 11 to hit. And then Artificier. Spells prepared equals 5 plus half our level, so it's 15 from the list that's provided in Eberron. There we go. And, so yeah, add 15 to these ones that are already locked in for you. And all of these are really good spells. I mean, not that you get, like, booger spells if you're a nature cleric or something like that. You don't get booger spells. But these are all, like, very universally regarded as not as, like, just applicable all the time, everywhere, really super good. Hey, XCat, good to see you. And Afterfov as well. If I'm the DM telling the player to rewrite or go home. But Afterfov, now every time I cast, I didn't tell you this, I actually grow cat ears and a tail every time I cast a spell. And so when that happens, everyone can see that I'm a spellcaster. And so everyone will know when I cast a spell. However, the ability for me to hide my cat ears and tail is intrinsic to my character because I've cast spells before. So they would need a passive perception of 19 to be able to get that information. I felt it was balanced that people should be able to identify myself as a spellcaster because I grow cat ears and a cat tail when I cast a spell. Because while I did have an uncle that was an abyssal armor maker, on the other side I had an aunt who was a tabaxi, and Custos, yeah. Welcome. It's good to see you here, brother. Azrael welcomes Custos Lupus with the official salute of a cat butt. Welcome aboard, Custos. A bunch of tabaxi sailors. The captain walks on deck. They all turn around and lift their tails for presentation. Oh, gosh, it is late. And I think we're finished with this character. It's, Afterfov, excuse me, my wizard has lived through the Second Draconic War and slayed a great red worm. That's clearly why my wizard has 8 hit points at level 1. And I'm also the general of the army. Alright. Cool and thematic? Yes. Overpowered? Probably. I think that there's a lot here that it could be trimmed and still be solid. The fact that there's even more is it's a very rich option. Yeah, the Afterfov, that's nice. Take it to another game. Afterfov, but I had people talking about in my forum that it's just my 2 other friends who always agree with me that and we roleplay in that forum too, so it's role-playing. All of this is about role-playing. I don't care about the dice. I don't have to. I'm just guaranteed advantage on everything I roll. I did that to make it easy for you, Afterfov. That way we don't have to worry about counting advantage or not, because everything I've done will give me advantage in every situation except when it's raining on a full moon. And so what I have is I've invented a spell that if it rains on a full moon, I'm actually put into a dimensional bubble that puts me out of phase. So that it actually is the night before and rain can't penetrate the bubble. See, I thought about all this for you, Afterfov. I'm trying to be a considerate player. That way you don't have to track all this stuff, like the full moon and when it rains. By the way, everyone, there's a couple kappas that could be sprinkled in up above with this. Well, you see, XCat, here's the thing, though, is that a branch of my family actually are Modrons on Mechanus, and so normally that would work from that subclass, but because my family has ties with Mechanus, there's a contract between the two that I would not be affected by Mechanus magic. And so, again, it's all in my backstory. If you'd like to read it, it's there. I made sure to think of things because I'm trying to make things easy. The less you have to think about my character and the more I can just tell you what happens, the more fun that we're going to have. Also, this character, this sort of Alphonse Elric character needs a name. Could even be the ship's name, because even the boy that was found in the hold may very well have been named after the ship. That'd be interesting, Zen. Lightning, you want to name him Elfrinwood?